move to Ukraine because Kyiv says it's carried out another major sabotage operation against a strategic Russian target, the Crimea bridge linking Russia to the occupied peninsula. Intelligence services in Kyiv say explosives were planted underwater and detonated just before 5 o'clock this morning. Those the picture of that attack. So let's head to Kyiv and our correspondent Paul Adams, who is there. And Paul, tell us a little more about what the authorities have been saying.
Yeah, Matthew, this is the second time in 2 days that the SBU has been claiming responsibility for a major operation. Clearly nothing on the scale of the attacks on the Russian air bases on Sunday, but nevertheless a very important and significant target. The Kerch bridge has been the object of Ukrainian anger and hatred ever since it was opened in 2018. It was a pet project of Vladimir Putin. He personally opened it just 4 years after Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula. It formed a link between the Russian mainland and, of course, what Ukrainians continue to regard as occupied territory. In 2022, the Ukrainians tried to blow it up. They used a truck bomb. I was here at the time. I remember the sense of absolute euphoria that greeted that operation. Now, as far as today's operation is concerned, it doesn't appear to have done a significant amount of damage. The bridge was reopened a short time afterwards, although we understand that this afternoon the bridge was closed again, possibly following a second explosion. So it is kind of an ongoing situation. But I think the kind of overall message here is that Ukraine is showing that it is on the front foot, that it is able to hit Russian targets sort of at will, and that the Kerch bridge remains very much in their sights.
Yes, one remembers and recalls Donald Trump saying to President Zelensky, you haven't got any cards to play. Well, perhaps over the last 48 hours, we've seen a different story. But in terms of an attack like this, after what we saw over the weekend, it is strategic, but also very symbolic as well.
It's highly symbolic. It is regarded as a massive symbol of Russian occupation. That is how all Ukrainians regard it. And it is also, as you say, strategic. In the run-up to the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, we saw all kinds of military traffic passing this way and that over the Kerch Bridge, which is both a railway and a road bridge. And then after that truck bomb, we saw it closed for quite some time. For a long time after its opening in 2018, it represented the only link between Russia and occupied Crimea. Of course, after the invasion, as Russia seized all that territory north of the Sea of Azov in southern Ukraine, the links with Crimea became twofold. But it remains an important logistical route for the Russian military. It is beyond the reach of artillery and most of the other weaponry that Ukraine has at its disposal. But we know from repeated efforts that they have explored all sorts of ways to try and blow it up. This appears to have been a significant amount of explosive, in excess of the equivalent of 1,000 kilograms of TNT. The Russians, who are reacting online on various telegram channels, are talking about the use of maritime drones. We know that the Ukrainians have experimented with those too. And so everyone knows that one way or another, the Ukrainians are determined to, at the very least, interrupt traffic along the bridge and at most to bring it down altogether.
Yes, and I thought an interesting line in the details we've heard so far is that the explosives were planted underwater over a lengthy period of time. Paul Adams there in Kyiv, thanks very much for the latest on that developing.